Hey everybody! So this is going to be my updated corset collection video. I decided to do it a little bit differently this year compared to past years because in the past I used to just kind of throw all of the corsets on my bed and just talk about them while you see them lying flat, but I think it would be a lot more educational and also a lot more entertaining if you were to actually see all the corsets on my body. So I'm going to be starting with the off-the-rack corsets, and then if you want to only see like the more couture corsets made by individual corsetiers, then you can just skip ahead in this video. So what you're seeing right here is the Isabella Josephine corset, and this is probably the oldest corset I own. I purchased that back in, I think, winter of 2010. I don't wear it much anymore, especially because it twists on my body, but yeah, it's kind of, you know, sentimental value to me now. I have a lot of corsets from Timeless Trends because I am a retailer for them. So here is an hourglass long line, and here's another hourglass long line. When Amber of Lovely Rats and Luana of Vinyanis went over, I think that was in winter of 2016. I got a lot of their new designs, some samples of their new designs just to check them out. So I am going to be doing like lookbooks on those. I've just been kind of falling behind. So that's how the longline hourglass looks, and this is the slim longline corset. So you can see the difference in the silhouette and how the rib cage is a lot smaller. So this is what the hourglass standard length Timeless Trends corset looks like, and I have quite a few of these as well. So this one is the vivid teal. Here's another style of the standard length hourglass. This is the mint floral, I believe. And this was the old stock, the slim silhouette standard length corset. So you can see how it gives more of a natural silhouette, not a very dramatic hourglass silhouette. And this is the Timeless Trends hourglass cincher. And the newest addition to the Timeless Trends corsets, this is the round rib Gemini, which I'm very proud of, and its twin, the conical rib Gemini. So if you have inflexible ribs, you can go with the conical one. If you have more flexible ribs or a smaller rib cage, or you want to train your ribs, you can go with the conical rib cage. Moving on to my Orchard corset collection, this is the CS 426 long line with the hip ties, and I kept this one because I helped design it. So it has my label in it, and the only part that I really designed was the actual hip tie part. So I took one of their normal 426 corsets and I added hip ties to it, and they liked it so much that they decided to put it into production. So that was really nice of them. And this is the CS 426 standard. It used to be called the 426 short, but I think they changed the names just to make all of their corset styles kind of like match, I suppose. And yeah, this one also has the hip ties, although you can also get it without the hip ties. But I reviewed this particular one on my channel for obvious reasons because it is tied to my label. And this one is not tied to my label, but this one I reviewed more recently, and this is the CS 511 overbust corset, and obviously made in mesh, so you can see the pretty design of my dress underneath. And I think this would be great for people who have like they need back support and bust support. Say you have thoracic outlet syndrome, but you don't want to wear like a thicker overbust corset in the summertime because it's so sweltering hot. I can see some people using it for that purpose. And this is a bit of a preview. I have not yet released this review on my channel, but this is the CS 411 longline corset. So you're going to have to wait to see that review coming up in a couple of months. So that was my Orchard corset collection, and now we're moving on to my Glamorous corset collection. So this was the Jolie mesh. So it's a long line corset made from mesh. It was a little bit big on me at the time, which is why I'm wearing a sweater underneath. And this one is the Lara underbust. So that is a shorter hipped underbust, and this was in the cotton, so people would use this as your basic trainer. This is the Glamorous Corset Bella cincher. So this is available in both satin and you can also get it in the mesh. But this summer I decided to do a mini series on different mesh corset reviews because I get asked so much about different mesh corsets and which types of mesh are out there and available. All of Glamorous corsets, mesh corsets, are the same kind of fishnet style, and same with this Emma corset. So this is a bit of a longer one, still cut straight across on the top and bottom, kind of like the Bella, but this one covers more of the torso and therefore gives a little bit more support. So both the Emma and the Bella are relatively gentle in their silhouette. I get about 2 inches of waist reduction in these. And here's a preview of some more Glamorous corset reviews coming up in the next couple of months. So this is the Dita underbust, and this one is finished in leather. Although if you don't like leather, you can get it in some other fabrics as well. And this was a corset where when I saw it come out of the box and it was just lying flat, I was just like, meh, but then I put it on my body and I was just like, oh. And this one is the Jenna overbust. This is a satin overbust. So this review might be coming up, I guess, December. I have like 3 or 4 months of reviews already queued, so yeah, just a sneak peek. And some more reviews coming up in the next bit. I have not yet released this review either, and this is the boho mesh or ocean lagoon mesh underbust made by Rebel Madness. So Rebel Madness is in Poland. And this is a different type of corset mesh. This is like a corsetry netting. And this is the new design of the black waist training corset from Rebel Madness. So this one is cut a little bit shorter on the hip. It's I guess somewhere in between like a full underbust and a cincher. And this one is actually interesting in that the sizing chart said that it wouldn't fit me perfectly, but it just so happens that the underbust and hips of this corset match my natural measurements exactly, so that was pretty lucky. And this is another Polish brand. This is Paper Cats, and this is the porcelain overbust that I reviewed not too long ago. Probably one of the best budget overbust corsets I've ever tried. It has a beautiful silhouette, even if it is a little bit short-waisted for me personally. Moving on to a bit higher quality off-the-rack corsets. This is the Antoinette corset by What Katie Did, and this is the standard one, not the extreme version. And it was in a limited edition floral pattern, so I don't think you're able to get this particular style anymore. Although, obviously, if you wanted the Antoinette corset in a different color or fabric, you can still order it. So the Antoinette corset I think I reviewed back in 2011, and more than 5 years later, I just reviewed the Vamp underbust, which is one of their newer designs. This particular style was also made in What Katie Did's designer part of their website, so I got to choose the color of the silk as well as the color of the brocade on the boning channels and trim, and the addition of the waist belt as well. Next up is Pearls and Arsenic, which is known as the first luxury brand in Hong Kong, and this is a sweet little kind of almost a cincher, but it has a bit of a high back as well, and it's covered in Swarovski crystals. So the owner of Pearls and Arsenic is Raven Tao, who is also a model and an actress and a TV host, and she also has her own YouTube channel. And this is Morgana Femme Couture. They do some ready-to-wear corsets, and they also offer made-to-measure and custom corsets, although they don't give you like a fitting, like no mock-up fittings. So that's why it's like made-to-measure instead of full bespoke. But they do really excellent work. And this is Vinyanis. So Vinyanis is based in Australia, and she just released her first off-the-rack collection. And this is probably one of the best quality off-the-rack corsets I own. It's worth about $800. All the lace is pattern matched. It's just stunning in real life. This is the Carbon Corset by Ava Corsetry, and it's probably one of the only surviving taffeta corsets in my collection because I'm not usually a fan of taffeta. Love the hip fins on this one. Ava Corsetry is based in the UK, and in the last couple of years they actually changed hands, so it's under a new owner and new corset maker now. This is a bridal overbust by Velda Lauder. Many of you know Velda Lauder was a very well-known corset maker. She was not that old in age. She was only in her 40s when she passed away, but she was kind of still among the original resurgence of you know, corset makers in the UK that were making corsets, I guess, in the 90s and early 2000s. But she was very well respected in her field. So this was one of the last stock from Lulu and Lush, Fairy Godmother. So I'm really happy to have been able to get one of her corsets. Here's the Mimosa corset by Versatile Corsets, and this was one of the first cupped overbust corsets I ever owned. So this was pretty exciting, and this was not a custom fit. This was actually kind of a standard size fit, but you chose the size of the waist and the cup size, and they actually did pretty well. Like, it fits me pretty well. So now we're transitioning more into the custom corsets, and this is the Poppies Underbust by Unatic Boutique. This is a beautiful piece, and I believe she can do some other types of embroidery if you don't want the poppies specifically. This is my Sparkle Run cincher, and I love this piece so much. I've worn it so often that now the flossing is kind of becoming a little bit loose, and it's a sample. It wasn't made for me, but it fits my measurements really nicely. This is one of my most prized corsets. This is my custom crimson butterfly piece from Sparkle Run. I'm trying to think, but this might be the first custom overbust corset I had ever commissioned, and I love everything about it. I also think I look super happy and giddy in this video. I felt really beautiful that day. And this is a piece that I have not yet reviewed, but this was another piece from Sparkle Run. It's gold and just completely smothered in lace. And I believe Sparkle Run made that for Immodesty Blaze originally. And yeah, it fit my measurements pretty well when I was about 20 pounds more. It doesn't fit me quite so well right now. I lost some of my curves. This is my custom PY09 curvy underbust from Puymon, and this is actually one of the smallest corsets in my collection, so this was a size 20. And this is a really lovely piece. I love the brocade on this. This is the mesh ribbon cincher from Madame Cher. So this one is great to wear under dresses in the summertime. It's probably one of my staple pieces in the summer, and it's almost falling apart. Like, I'm pretty impressed at how well it has held up over the years, and I wear it pretty much every summer. Not daily, but pretty much under all of my special occasion dresses. And Madame Cher is based in Brazil, so they know quite a lot about heat and the importance of a good quality mesh corset. And this is my other Madame Cher corset that I reviewed more recently, just in the past few months. This is also a cupped overbust corset, and I love the floral pattern on it. It's so sweet and summery. The cups were a little bit small in this, but like I explained in my review, it was probably a miscommunication. It's really hard to get the sizing right when you're just communicating through email. It kind of requires more of a fitting. And this is probably my second smallest piece. This is 20.5 inches, but the way that the pattern was drafted in this corset makes it look a lot more dramatic, probably because of the extreme hip spring. And when I reviewed this corset, oh my goodness, people lost their damn minds. Also because this corset has a pretty conical rib cage, I think, but this remains still one of my most comfortable corsets, despite the fact that it is such a small piece. It's also really nice for the summer because it's breezy mesh, and it's really unique design, zipper closure and no waist tape in it. So it's one of my most prized pieces. This is another mesh corset, kind of semi-mesh because it has some mesh panels and some couture panels. This one is made by Contessa Gothic, and I believe they're based in Croatia. This is a size 22, and so the waist is only 1.5 inches bigger than the contour corset one, but you can see that the silhouette is completely different, which makes it look less dramatic, even though the size of the waist is not dramatically different. Here's my custom underbust from L'Atelier de la Fleur, and it's a long line piece, and you can see that it's very streamlined. But because I'm so long-waisted, I'm so long through the torso, and I don't have a lot of curves to me, it looks not too dramatic in the waistline, even though it's still giving me, a decent waist reduction. L'Atelier de la Fleur is based in Toronto, Canada. Here's another example of a custom corset, not made for me. It was made for one of my friends, but we have similar enough measurements. And this is the Abigail corset by Sugar Kitty, and she no longer makes corsets, unfortunately. But this has such a dramatic, cupped rib, almost a square rib, and very dramatic hip spring. I believe this one is 21 inches in the waistline, but I was wearing this with a 2-inch gap in the back, making the smallness of the waist look that much more dramatic. Here's my Couture underbust, and I call this one of my softest corsets. It really, it felt like a second skin almost from the very first wear, which is rare for me. Couture is based in Russia. I think she might be based out of Italy now. Not quite sure, but she stopped making corsets shortly after I commissioned this piece from her, which is a little bit sad because I kept recommending her to pretty much everybody I met. So I hope that I didn't, kind of overwhelm her with all of the referrals. But it's a beautiful and very comfortable piece to this day. And this is my first underbust from Retrofolie, and you can see it has a Fragonard's the swing or a escarpolette painting on it, beautifully pattern matched. This is by Retrofolie, who is based in Montreal, Canada. So nice to support another Canadian. And here is an entire ensemble that was made for a different model, not for myself, but this was made by Serendi, who was based in France, and I believe she's not taking commissions anymore. She hasn't for a number of years, but this was also a taffeta piece. Not exactly an outfit that I can wear to the grocery store, but I was able to do a photo shoot with this piece, I think, back in 2014. Now the one on the dress form here is by Jupiter Moon 3, but I don't have that corset anymore. That was a sample and it never quite fit me perfectly, so I sold it off to somebody who would fit better. I want you to focus on the purple and gold underbust that I'm wearing, and that is by Vita Noire, and she is based in Italy. It's a beautifully printed piece, and she asked me not to review it though, so although it is in my collection, it doesn't come out very often in my videos. And this is my custom underbust corset by Il Corsetto di Artemis, and they are also based in Italy. And this is a sweet piece. This is also quite a soft piece as well. And the flowers on the hip are completely custom. I believe the maker had hand chosen that silk and made each one by hand. So if you want some more customization regarding the flowers, the maker's able to do that. And this is my custom gold Aziza overbust by Dark Garden, and I'm sorry if I'm looking a little worse for wear in this particular video. What you don't know is that I was suffering from a really bad migraine that day, and basically when I was filming this video, it was almost entirely kind of blind because I was experiencing auras. But the corset itself is beautiful. The corset has nothing to do with the migraines or anything. And this was my first custom piece from Dark Garden, and it was exciting to work with them because they have been in business for so long, almost 30 years now. This is another special corset in my collection, and although it looks just like a regular black underbust, this is actually not a custom piece. This is a standard size, but it was made to order from Bizarre Design, based in the Netherlands. He works with Kathy Young, the Guinness World Record for the world's smallest waist. He is very, very well respected in his field. And this corset is also has no waist tape. The bones are more of a wire instead of a spiral steel, and it's a single layer piece. So I'm very, very surprised at how beautiful the silhouette is and how much it can cinch me in, even though it has no waist tape and only one layer. This is my made-to-measure Fierce underbust by Maison Mojinon, and Gabriel Mojinon studied for a little bit under Mr. Pearl, so you can see some of the inspiration in this silhouette probably. And it was really cool to be able to meet Mr. Pearl at the Oxford Conference of Corsetry in 2015, although I did not meet Mr. Mojinon. This is my made-to-measure black satin underbust from Sweet Carousel Corsetry, who I think is based in Edmonton, Canada. And this was actually the piece that I had ordered to replace my Isabella Josephine. Because it was not custom made for me and because it was twisting on my body, I wanted another kind of like plain black, little black corset, kind of like a little black dress. This is a sweet mesh piece. I call it the Christine mesh corset because my friend Christine, who had passed away a couple of years ago, had an almost identical piece from JL Corsets. JL Corsets is also known as Seljuk Confinement, and she's based in Wales. This has the same teal silk that Christine had bought in Tasmania, so this corset has some sentimental value to me. And speaking of sentimental value, Christine also made the pattern for this corset. I call it the friendship corset. And the construction is typical of Lovely Rats corsets. And Amber from Lovely Rats and I had made this corset together. So this was a collaboration between 3 different people. And we kind of made it in Christine's memory. So it's also made from this gorgeous crystal organza, but it's backed onto a white couture. And these are 2 awesome pieces from CS Corsets. Neither of them were actually made for my body, they were made for a model, but the model had kind of similar measurements to my own, so I was able to purchase these samples off of her. So this was the hologram corset, which was just, I love it so much. And the second CNS corset is a purple satin with black lace overlay. And you can see this is more of a long line and more conical through the ribs. And I filmed the review for this corset, but it hasn't yet gone live, so this is just a sneak peek. This is a silver sweetheart underbust corset made from Corsetry and Romance, and Corsetry and Romance is based in Poland as well. Very comfortable piece, and I love the lace and the flossing and the cording. It is really exquisite. This is also a corset that I have not yet fully reviewed. I've reviewed the tabletop portion, but not yet the modeling portion of it. But this will probably be going live in a few months. But this is made from the Bad Button, as you will see the label right now. And it has real 24 karat gold foil in the front of this corset. Here are 2 other sample corsets that I also haven't reviewed. On the left side is an underbust by Ryan LaRue. She's based in Seattle, Washington. And on the right side is a green plunge demi-bust by Mitchell Dane, who's based in, I believe, LA, California now. And this is the Hug Me cincher from Bespoke Corsets, and they used to be based in Florida, but unfortunately they are no longer in business. This was not made for my body though. I believe the underbust is like 24 inches and my natural underbust is closer to 30, so it will never close on me in a million years. But it is a lovely little addition to my collection. And the 3 pieces on the table here are actually men's corsets that were donated to me from Corset Page Backwards. It's like EGAP Tesrock. And these were made by Création La Scarpelette. They were in France at one point, and they have not been in business for almost 10 years. I want to say 7 or 8 years. And they were kind of like legendary corsets. It was very hard to get your hands on one, and then they sort of fell off the face of the earth and stopped taking commissions. So I was very grateful to kind of inherit these corsets in a way. And this concludes my 2017 corset collection video, so I hope you liked it. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you'd like to see any of my past year's collections, feel free to click on any of the links on the screen here. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next week for another video. Bye!